former prisoner and inmate.
You did it. What are you doing, Guns?
Ah! You bit the hell out of me. Ah!
Wanna see you with your hands up. Going straight to the sky, let me see you put your hands up. Cause we do till we die and we on another level.
I'm at New York City.
To the rest of your body, got a piece of the pie. Told you once, told you twice that we only got one life.
On the way to achieve success after prison, he's going to share his story with us right now.
Diamond shine, best at night. You wear yours, I'll wear mine. Go dumb tonight.
What's up? Welcome back to another edition of My Thing Telephone Gangster. Office edition. I'm up in my office. I got a couple minutes to burn before I go work out. Kind of digesting my meal. Cheese sandwich. Couldn't figure anything else to eat. I'm just mozzarella. So, I was sitting there thinking about back in the day, some of the stuff that I used to do. I'm always thinking about remembering crazy crap that I used to do. And I was thinking about my motorcycle. I had this Ninja. And I was thinking about some of the high-speed pursuits I got into. I mean, there were so many freaking high-speed pursuits. I don't even know where to begin. But there's a couple that are remarkable. But I wanted to talk. It made me think about Lynch Road and French Road behind the airport in Detroit, which is everybody knows. If you're from like the east side of Detroit, maybe the west side too. I don't know. I'm sure West Siders came over there too. It's kind of. I mean, technically it's the east side, but I mean, it depends which way you're going. It can kind of be not that far from the west side either. And it's where everybody goes to race. But I didn't know this, okay? I'd heard of it. French Road, Lynch Road, people go to the race, yada, yada, yada. When I was 19 years old, I went to jail for the steroid thing, right? And I was locked up with this dude. What the hell was his name? Can't remember his name, but they called him T. And he always had a sucker. He liked to eat suckers. So, which is kind of funny. So, he was in jail with me for like, you know, cause I got kicked out of work release. I was supposed to have 6 months work release. My grandpa bribed the judge, allegedly. And I wasn't supposed to get any prison time. I was supposed to get work release. And then I ended up going on work release, and I punched some dude in the face who tried to steal my cookie off my tray, and they kicked me out of the program, and I had to go do the rest of my time in the Tower, Macomb County Jail. Now, while I was up there, I met this dude named T. Now, he was kind of a slick freaking black dude. You know, you get different types of like blacks in jail, right? So you have some that are racist. Then there's like older guys, and then there's like kind of that are white ones that are cool with white dudes like myself. And he was like, he migrated right towards me, this black dude. He was a younger guy about my age. He's only like 21, 22. I don't remember what he did to even get in there, but he only had he didn't have long, like a month or two or something. So he kind of became my spades partner, my roll dog. And he told me that he lived over there behind French Road. And so he told me what street he lived on. But I couldn't remember it for the life of me, right? When I got out. Because, you know, I was in there during the winter, and then when I got out in June, like the first week of June, he had already gotten out. So I remember going down there, looking for him. This is in the hood too, but this is in the ghetto like a mother effort, in the hood, you know what I'm saying? It's right behind the airport, and the only thing I knew about this area was that my mother was buried at, I think it's Mount Olivet, the cemetery that's right there, this big, huge cemetery. My whole family's in a mausoleum there. And that's all I knew. So I figured, I wasn't afraid of the hood. I drive around the hood all the time on my Ninja, all the time, my crotch rocket, whatever. I'm always in the hood. Now I can tell you on another show, I'll tell you like a few of the high-speed chases that I got in, where like I freaking had a bunch of dope on me, bunch of money, had a girl on the back one time. It was crazy. The cops pull up to me, and I got literally a bunch of dope in my hand, but I didn't let them see it because I had my hand on the steering wheel. It's crazy. Or the handlebars, whatever. And so one day I'm driving down the hood, down there by French Road, and I knew there was some kind of racing stuff that happened down there. I heard people talk about it, you know, the French Road, Lynch Road races. Didn't really know how they did it, though, but there was a big straight road behind the airport, and I figured that must be where. So I'm driving along, and I see these kids playing basketball in the street, these black kids. You know, they had a rim up in the street. I don't even know if they had a rim. I think they might have had like a rim on a telephone pole. You know what I'm saying? And they were just hooping. And the thing was, I wasn't even that good at basketball. You know what I'm saying? I really wasn't. I didn't get good at basketball until I went to prison. And then I played for several years, like every day, and then I got good, you know. But I was like, you know, I'm up for making some new friends. You know, I just got out of jail a few weeks ago, and I'm just like, you know, kick it with these brothers, man. You know, I got along good with the brothers. So I'm like, man, I pull up on my Ninja, and I'm like, yo, what's up, fellas? And they look at me like, what the frick is this white boy just show up out of nowhere? We're in the hood, man. There ain't no white people around here at all. I'm like, yo, you know, man, can I get in the game? And they're all like, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, want to play threes? I was like, yeah, you know, we'll take you. And so we playing and we're hooping and playing. We played for about an hour. And I played pretty good. You know, I'm hanging with them. I got pretty good defense. My shot ain't too great. I got a layup here and a layup there. I'm good at passing, you know, stuff like that. And we were all just kind of laughing and busting balls. You know, they were busting each other's balls. They were all about my age, probably anywhere from, you know, 16 to like 20. I think I was 20. And we're just hooping. I remember the evening was starting getting darker. You know, like the sun was beginning to set, and I starting to think, you know, it's probably wise that I've, you know, you know, make my exit before it gets dark around here. Because at this point, you know, there could be predators. You know, I had a nice Ninja sitting there. It's this like a green and white Ninja, chartreuse green and white Ninja. I think it's badass. So I'm sitting there, just getting ready to wrap it up, kind of sweaty, whatever. And I see these freaking like 3 dudes come walking down the street, and they're coming from a long ways away. Like I said, they've been, you know, all the way down the block. I could see him walking right down the middle of the road. And the one dude's got a freaking tracksuit on. I still remember. It's like a white with, like blue and yellow, maybe, feel a tracksuit, you know. So he got a hat on. He got a sucker in his mouth. And he's like, walks up and they all walk up and they're kind of watching. And then I hear the freaking one dude go, Al, I knew that was you. I look over like, who the frick said my name? And I'm looking, he's like, duh, it's T. I said, what's up, man? That's what I'm doing out here. I was looking for you. He's like, bro, I seen you go by. I was sitting on my porch. I live on the next block. I seen you go by. He's like, you described, actually I showed him pictures of my motorcycle too. And plus you described it to him. He's like, you're the only one who's got a bright green and white motorcycle, man. I seen you go by. Then I seen you go by again. And then I walked up to the store with my boy. He's like, I'm on probation or I'm on house arrest. I'm not supposed to leave the porch. But I went to the store to get a 40 and some suckers. And I saw your bike down here in the middle of the street parked and you playing hoops. I said, I knew that was you. So I came down here and, you know, dap up, give him a hug. What's up? And he said, you know, he's like, bro, he's like, you got to come down here for the races at night. You know, I'm like, yeah, I heard about that. He's like, come on, man. You know, so we exchanged numbers. I actually go to his house. I say goodnight to the guys that I played ball with. It was nice meeting them. We dap up, fellas. Then, you know, and they all really thought I was cool now because they're like, I knew this dude and they knew him. He was kind of like a hustler from the neighborhood, dressed real nice. He had a big gold chain, you know, it was like a little hustler kid from the neighborhood, you know, dope boy kind of kid, not big money or nothing, but you know, he's getting a little money and they all knew him. And now they know he knows me now. So I'm kind of even, you know, anyway, so I go back to his house, hang out for a minute. He had some girl over there. He got drunk. I remember he was getting pretty drunk and I left as it got dark and we, you know, stayed in contact. We're calling each other. And one day he says, come on down to the races. So, you know, I had this cousin named Frankie. He was kind of a nut job. And he was the kind of guy that you wanted to have around in the situation for have your back. Because he was not afraid to shoot a guy. And he always carried a gun. He would use it. So I called Frankie. I said, yo, let's go down to these races. You know, and he drives. And he had a Mustang. And I don't think I had my Mustang anymore. I had a Mustang just for a minute. I had like a year or two before that. I think I sold it about a couple years before that. And, yeah, it was a couple years before that. So he picks me up in a Mustang and says, let's go down there. I said, these guys are around there racing, man. And maybe you can race. And like I told some of my other boys, meet us down there behind the airport on French Road, Lynch Road. Either one, French or Lynch. They're both kind of back there. I can't remember the name, which one is which. So we go back there, and at night, there's like freaking, oh my goodness, there must have been 500 people back there, and the cars are lined up like this, and the back road, where all the roads kind of met on this one straightaway that went for about I don't know, maybe a half a mile. So like the streets came up, I think they came up off of Harper, or no, Van Dyke maybe. Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't Harper. It was between Van Dyke and like Racket, where the airport was and where Mount Olivet was, the cemetery. And then, so on one side was like the airport with a big fence, and the other side was just really no houses there, but the side streets that landed at that street. And they would do it pretty smartly. They would kind of block off everybody knew they were back there racing, so anybody pulling down that street to that end street where they were racing would kind of stop and look, because there was always, they could hear them all night racing back and forth. And plus, sometimes if there was like, they were really getting it in with those like major races, people will go drive down there and park their car in the street and just get out and be like, so people wouldn't just kind of pull up and pull out while there's freaking dudes doing 150 miles an hour down the road. So, and I was just hanging out watching this, and I never seen nothing like it. I'm like, damn, man, I mean, these guys are freaking getting it in, and all these like muscle cars and new Corvettes and freaking some crotch rockets too. One night I saw a crotch rocket smash into a Corvette there one time. There was an intersection down there about a half mile, and it was like past where anyone was really racing, and this freaking crotch rocket was flying. And the Corvette had pulled out from a T-bone, and that guy died. He was killed, and that was kind of, actually, that was kind of a turning point that summer, because after that, the cops started coming around and kind of policing the area a little bit. But prior to that, freaking, it was like a free-for-all. The cops might come through and like just kind of like drive through, and it could get wild. So you might have two or like maybe 50, 60, 70 people watching, right? Then you might have like 6, 8, 10 guys racing. They'd meet there to race. And these guys were like white boys from the suburbs, like, wrench heads, motorheads and stuff. And some were black dudes too, same thing, motorheads from the hood. And they pull up and they're, or they're pimped out freaking Mustangs and Vets and whatever the hell they drove. It didn't matter what it was. I wasn't really into cars like that, I mean, sometimes you can look at a car and see it looks fast and it sounds fast, but you don't know. I mean, I've also seen like Capris pull up, what I'm saying, they just smoke Corvettes and crap. They got the big muscled up engine, and they were fun to watch. And here's my enterprising mind. I remember that night with Frankie, I said to this, we didn't do it the first night, but I remember doing it after the fact, and I came back and I said it to T, because T was there with me. The black kid was a sucker. I said, hey, man, he's like, yeah, I've been seeing these my whole life, and I grew up right here, so this is what they do. And I'm like, man, it got to be a way to make some money. He's like, yeah, you can freaking bet on the cars. I'm like, nah, man, it's got to be a better way to make money than betting on the cars, because you just don't know who's going to win. I said, I want to bet on someone who I know is going to lose. You know what I'm saying? He's like, what do you mean? I said, pay him to lose. Then bet on the other car. Take the car. So I started doing this. And this is a dangerous freaking racket. You know what I'm saying? This is a dangerous game I'm getting involved in. I'm like 20 years old down in the ghetto. Now, there are some serious gangsters around there. I saw a guy freaking pull out a Mac 10 and start spraying one time. There were some serious gangsters down there. Some gangs, 4, 5, 6, 10 dudes come down ganged up, gangbangers, not a ton of them, but it was mostly pretty much normal dudes just wanting to race and bet on races. But there was gangsters around, and you just don't know who's who. So what I would do, let's say this guy pulls up and he's got like a freaking Mustang, right? And he's just mollywopping everybody. I mean, it's just a bad mother effort, man. He's got this beefed up and stuff. So you're sitting there, you've been watching for an hour. He done raced 5 people and smoked them all, And then some other car pulls up. It's some like, some Datsun or something, right? And it sounds like it could be fast, but it ain't got a chance against this Mustang, because this Mustang just done smoked everything. This thing's got like 600 horsepower or something. So you walk over to the freaking Mustang and you say, hey, man, I'll give you $500 to freaking miss a gear in this next race. And they kind of look at you like crazy. I'm just miss a gear. $500. And they're like, all right, easy money. Yeah, just miss a gear, man. $500. Then I go, I got 500 on that freaking Datsun to beat that Mustang. I'm taking all bets. 500 at that Datsun. That Datsun's going to beat that Mustang. But it usually wasn't 500. It was like, I'm taking all bets. What I'd say, like, I got 50 cents. I'm taking all bets. I got this Datsun to beat that Stang. Now, keep in mind, everybody who's sitting there been watching this Mustang done vollywop everybody for freaking an hour. You know, beat 5 people in a row, and the thing's a monster, and the guy can drive, you know? And I'm like, yo, you know, because I don't go right over to the thing and say, will you lose? Yes? Okay. Hey, no, I go wait back a couple races. I waited half an hour, 45 minutes, you know, wait for the right car to pull up, you know? Doesn't have to be the one that was there before. I'll just wait for the car I know can't beat them. And then I'll just be like, you know, I got my money in that. So now kind of a, you know, message between me and the guy in the Mustang. You know, I'm like, you know, I kind of look at him like, and he knows. So they line him up. Somebody standing in the street, you know, and then, whoop, and they go, whoop, and all of a sudden that Mustang, whoop, and he blows gear, like misses the gear, like, you know, it doesn't shift right in the clutch. And the Datsun, boom, gets his ass. And everyone's like, oh, man, no way, boom. And I just, like that, make like $1,000. Clock, just like that, make it like $1,000. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't always 1,000. You might make 500, you might make 300, you know, but there were times where I made thousands of dollars. So you had to be careful, because I got caught one time. And then some guys were like, figured it out. And they're like, some bullshit, man. You paid them to freaking throw, you know, you paid them to miss a gear because the last like 3 weeks in a row, when you waited and then said, I'm taking the car, the underdog, every single time that car missed a gear. Go figure. You know, like, nah, man, how would I know the guy's going to miss a gear? It's like, I've been here for 3 weeks watching you bet. They're like, and you don't say nothing. You wait till the freaking car that's been smashing everybody, you bet against it, and that thing drops a gear, misses a gear. It's bullshit, man. I ain't paying you. He didn't pay me. He had a bunch of guys with him, you know, for gangsters with him. Like, forget it, bro. It ain't even that serious, man. You know, keep your money, man. Just don't bet with me no more. And so now here's how I would do it. After this, I would go there and be a little more careful. Rather than me doing the betting, I have somebody else, like Frankie or my boy or T or somebody else. So I'd have to start rotating people that do it. I just sit back and watch and be like, all right, listen, you know, I go talk to the guy who's going to miss the gear, or have somebody go miss, you know, and then, you know, and I tell the guy, listen, man, I'll meet you at freaking in Greektown, you know, after the race. After you miss the gear and after the race, wait 15 minutes, go to Greektown. I'll meet you down there in 15 minutes at Pegasus or Nikki's Pizza or something like that. And he's like, yeah, and $500, you know, everybody's downtown anyways. We're only freaking 5 minutes from downtown. So you just shoot over there. You might go get something to eat, come back. There's more races. Everybody's racing. So, I mean, is a good, easy money hustle for me and also the driver, you know. Nobody likes to lose, but for $500, you lose one race, you know. And half the time they weren't even betting, the drivers. They're just like, just want to race because they want to race. So if they can make $500 real quick, then you might come back and double down and say, you know, the next guy say, I'm going to bet $500. I have a friend say, I'll bet $500 that Mustang wins in the second heat here. And everybody else is like, no, I'll take the Datsun now. And boom, boom, boom. You know, you got to be careful. It's very tricky. You got a fine line. You can't bet on him every time, and you can't have him miss a gear every time. You can have him dial back the throttle a little bit and like not push the car as hard. That's another way to lose. Kind of just let the other car beat him. But we worked it out. We always did a bunch of different little scams like that, try to figure it out. And I got to know some of these drivers, man. I knew 2 guys with a Mustang and another guy with a Datsun. That's why I keep saying the Datsun. It was beefed up. There was one guy who had what the frick was that little car? A Pinto with a 302 in it. That's what it was. A Pinto with a 302. He ended up twisting the frame. I met a bunch of guys there. I knew a guy who had a badass Camaro. Another guy had, I think it was a Challenger, Charger, something Chrysler. It was blue. It was really cool looking, man. The freaking Rumble was badass. And, he was always whipping on mother effers too. And I paid him to lose, you know, a few. So it went on for you know, I don't know. It went on like one whole summer. I remember where I was doing it a lot. And then somebody got shot there, and they got shot for doing what I was doing. Rigging races. You know what I'm saying? There was a big blow off. After that, between that and the motorcycle that smashed into the Corvette, the cops started coming. So we'd all be lined up, and we'd be like 50 cars lined up along the road, and all these cars were, and the cops would come through, keep it moving, and we'd all be like, F you, we ain't going nowhere. But then they'd stop and go, listen, you know, I'm going to start writing loitering tickets, get the frick out of here. And we'd all go, yeah, sure, bro, you know, and we'd leave and come back in a half an hour, and we'd sit back there. But eventually the cops started coming around, threatening to write tickets and arrest people and stuff, so I stopped going. But I believe, you know, based on what, you know, people have told me, that people still do it. Still to this day, that French Road, Lynch Road is still a race place where people go to race. I knew one other place out in the suburbs called Lipke, which was a popular place to race. I raced there a bunch of times on my motorcycle. I really wasn't into racing, but I mean, anytime anyone wanted to race me, I'd go there and race them. And usually it was cars wanting to race me on my motorcycle, which is kind of stupid. You know what I mean? A car can't race me on a motorcycle. I mean, I had a couple of cars, like, keep up with me on my motorcycle. This kid named Junior had another Mustang, and that was all beefed up. And I thought I was just going to blow him away. And that Mustang was right freaking next to me all the way up to like 100. I didn't like that there because there was one road down the road that anyone could pull out, even though it was like a quarter mile away. And you know, by the time you get going a quarter mile, you're doing like 120 miles an hour. If somebody happens to pull out, you know, on this side was a garbage company, like waste disposal kind of company. So it was all fenced and there was no one coming. Anyways, man, that was just one of my little scam hustle rackets that I did when I was probably about 20 years old. You know, this is right when I got out of jail. So I was 20 and just another way to make a buck. And I was wild at the time, and if I saw an opportunity to make $1, that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? And I hung around guys who, you know, were street hustlers. Oh, by the way, T, he was a dice player. That was one of his things. One of his hustles, playing dice. And so he sold dope too, crack, I think it was. But he liked to play dice. And so I used to hustle him on the dice too, because I taught him how to play 3-dice CeeLo. And so I'd get him on the dice. We'd sit around and play dice. And that was another thing. At the races, by the way, sometimes we'd sit there and play dice while the races are going. You know, wait till the race happens. We'd all watch the race. Whoa! And then we'd sit down and play. And they'd play 4, 5, 6 or something, make another, you know, hustle on the side. But it's a dangerous place down there, and could have got killed any minute. That's all I'm saying. I wish I knew where that dude T was, man. I liked him. He was a good dude. I hope he's alive, healthy, and well. That's all. I literally can't remember his freaking real name or nothing. It was a long time ago. To be perfectly honest, I was pretty lucky to even not get myself killed down there doing what I was doing, you know, and had guys bust me for rigging. You know, there's guys flat out were like, dude, you're rigging a race. I'm like, nah, okay, you are. We've been watching, man. And the thing was, you would think more people would have been doing that, but they weren't. Not sure why. But I was like, this is easy money, man. Rig this race, man. Make me $1,000. I could sit here for an hour or two, make a G, and be gone. It wasn't that easy, though, man. People would come and they'd pay attention, and then they'd say, oh, okay, he got one to go. And they'd pull out a freaking gun. You could be the one to go. Anyways, all right, I got to go. This is a quick story I wanted to tell you about back in the day. I got a bunch of stories about my crotch rocket running from the cops. A couple of them are pretty funny and interesting. You know what I mean? Like I'll tell them another day. It's just 22 minutes in, but some of them are funny. Like one is a good one where I did a wheelie and was going by a cop, and he spun around and pulled me into a subdivision that was blocked off. It was one way in, one way out. So I just pulled over, but I was with my friend. Well, my friend shoots off and goes. Cop pulls up and goes, where'd he go? And it circles around and comes back. So since my friend said that way, and we went that way, I lied and said he went that way. But then again, that was the wrong thing to say, because I knew my friend was only going to circle around and meet him. Well, the cop didn't believe me, and he went the other way. But my friend went out in the woods, which is where I was going. Because when the cop turned, I knew at the end of the road, there's like a trail that goes out in this big woods. And I'm like, and anyways, both ended up out in the woods riding and got away. So I'll share some of that for now. Check out my books. If you haven't checked out my books, if you don't know about my book, where's my oh, it's literally right there. It's holding up my phone. To Be a King, Volume 1 and 2. basically perfect 5-star reviews. A couple douchebags put freaking negative reviews on there. They've never read the book, but other than that, everybody loves them. So make sure to check them out. Check out Art Thing Apparel. The website's almost back up now. It's completely automated. So make sure you like and subscribe if you like these videos. Just try to do some of these shorter ones and kind of get it out there and, you know, shorter, funny stories. I got some good ones. I got, what was the other one I went? Oh, I got some good fight stories I don't think I ever told about. Just like in high school and stuff. Just some crazy ass, like, high school brawls we got into, and they're pretty crazy. So I'll share some of them too. For now, I'm out.